Biostache.
Welcome to the Biostache podcast.
From vaccines to GMOs, this is your audible hub for all things biotech.
You can find our articles at www.biostache.com.
Also, check us out on our LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Biostache.
We hope you enjoy your fortnightly fix of biotech content. Hope you enjoy.
Biostache.
Here we are, first episode. Welcome, everyone, first of all, to the Biostache podcast.
We're pretty keen.
Yes.
Glad you could join us.
Absolutely. My name's Harry.
My name is Daniel.
We have Sam and Ryan in the room with us, and we comprise the entire Biostache unit.
The whole team.
The whole
gang is here.
The whole gang is here. So, Dan, tell me about yourself. What do the people need to know?
Oh, not much other than I'm an editor and co-founder of Biostache.
Excellent.
We are a independent media collective. We're specializing in delivering biotechnology to as many people as we can reach, hopefully in a way that people understand and that's like accessible.
Dude, are we delivering biotech or biotech news?
Oh, a bit of both. Depends on what we feel like on the day.
Just to people's doors. We're door-to-door biotech sales.
We're about to get a HelloFresh affiliate link, by the way.
Sponsored by Novo Nordisk. No, we are not.
We'll see.
I feel like I need to say that. Like we're
Add a disclaimer to everything.
Disclaimer: we're not sponsored yet. But yeah. So, what about your journey?
Well, so I did my undergrad in science at Melbourne, and then
Excellent.
Majored in biotechnology, specifically in pharmacology. I'm pretty excited and passionate about biotech things. It's a pretty
Raring
cool field.
to go.
Yeah.
Cool field.
What
Yeah.
about you, Harry? Give us an intro.
God, where do I begin? So I also did my undergrad in science at Melbourne, but my major was cell and developmental biology, which was the same as Ryan, who's behind the camera over here. We didn't actually ever cross paths face to face. My undergrad was during that whole COVID thing.
The what now?
Do you remember that?
Oh, I can recall.
Excellent. And Sam, the secret fourth member of Biostache.
Grand reveal.
We may reveal grandly at some point. If you subscribe to our newsletter, which I highly recommend doing.
Yeah,
Sam
you should
is
definitely subscribe to our newsletter. Sponsored by Novo Nordisk.
We're not. Novo Nordisk does not sponsor us
Yet.
yet. Sam hails from New South Wales, and that rhymes. So we're
Makes
doubling
it
as
better.
poet.
Oh,
and we
yeah.
don't even realise it. So yeah, Sam did his degree at the University of Newcastle, his undergrad degree, in biotechnology, and then made the big move down to Melbourne. So we all met last year.
In a pretty good class. Project management in science.
Oh boy.
I don't think there was much project management going on, but we made it.
Would I trust myself to manage a project? For CV reasons, yes.
Yes, definitely. All of us. Team building and
building.
project management skills are aplenty here.
Aplenty.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we all just were... We all sat together for most of last year, most of our classes.
Unfortunately.
Fortunately,
look at where we are.
Heart. Yeah, we've... More has come from this than I think any of us ever realised would.
I agree. Absolutely. But yeah, we decided during that class we would start up a blog of some sort.
Yeah, a blog, news. Just get ourselves out there. It's very tough to get a foot in the door these days. But we made our own door and put our foot firmly in between the door and the door frame.
Well, almost. We're there now. This is our foot, I think.
Yeah, this is probably like the heel that middle section.
Thank you for being the heel for whoever's listening right now.
You are our what do you call our listeners are the prosthetic.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Stopping us from getting flat soles. God damn it.
Yeah, keep going with that.
This metaphor has legs, I promise.
And it's running away.
Oh boy, is it. So
Maybe
what have we...
A bit about what we do, I guess.
Yeah.
primarily at the moment we're looking at, we make articles, bits and bobs of sort of what's happening at the moment in biotech. It's a really exciting field. There's new things coming out every single day pretty much, and there's not much discussed really in the media anywhere. So anytime something cool happens, it's going to be somewhere on our page at some point. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment.
Absolutely. I think we've all written pretty much an equal amount of articles each. We all have nuanced sort of areas of the industry that we
Definitely
focus
yeah.
on. So Sam's on reproductive health, Ryan's on GMOs and whatnot. You and I sort of share the
finance and
finance,
other,
biotech in general
pretty
space.
much, yeah.
But yeah, so we all, try to tackle this massive industry one section at a time.
And it is a big industry.
Oh, it's
it covers so many different things. And like when you try and tell someone like what is biotech, it's kind of like it's hard. There isn't really there is like one definition of, it's the commercialization of bioscience, right? But what does that actually mean? Like there's so many different things that can be, like agriculture, med tech, pharmacology, so many different things that it can fall under. It's a big kind of beast to slay for.
Yeah, it's
us.
anything that, for me, it's anything coming from biology or pharmacology, that from the lab to things that we actually use. So it doesn't have to be commercialized, but it has to have, real life impacts on humans or animals, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
The environment at large.
There's so many things that we use day to day that we don't realize are like biotech inventions. Like notably the rat test. Pretty
Absolutely.
Cool.
Topical.
Like about the thing that we thought
COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID. The cochlear implant is another one that I can think of off the top of my head.
Australian
Huge.
invention.
Australian invention.
Big company.
Huge.
Cochlear is the name of the company.
Yeah.
A med tech company. They're probably number 2 in the med tech, biotech sort of Australian company rankings. Number 1 being our overlords at CSL.
Yeah. Fun fact about CSL. Well, it's fun for us.
Yes.
The CSL just built a new headquarters in Parkville, and
as of
we
August
can
last year.
As of August, in all of our classrooms and workshop spaces, there is just the looming the CSL
behemoth.
logo,
The behemoth that watches over us
every time we go sit down and do some work. So
I pray to the CSL.
Every day.
Every day I look at the CSL and I'm like, thank you. Thank you, CSL, for all that you've done for us.
And as should you all.
Yeah. Everybody at least once a day should go to the CSL.
You will, Brandon.
Go to the lobby at CSL and say thank you at the top of your lungs.
We do endorse that.
You heard it here first, honestly. I mean, first podcast. Where else are you going to hear that? We're really breaking down barriers.
I think we are, yeah. Barriers to entry for biotech.
The sliding door to CSL lobby.
What would you call that? A carousel? Revolving door.
Revolving door.
That's it. That's it.
That's. I think there's something in that.
Probably.
That's something very special.
So
anyway,
go ahead.
So Dan, you have written an article and you want to sort of get into that a little bit in this podcast. I think for the viewers, the way we're going to set up these podcasts is Dan's going to talk about something that he's written. I'm going to talk about something that I've written, and then we're going to sort of discuss Sam and Ryan's stuff a little bit less in depth because that's theirs.
That's
they
their
know
stuff.
more about that than we do. But we are probably going to be able to talk about our stuff in a lot more detail.
Well, yeah. There's only so much you can talk about in an article or in a piece of writing.
A hit piece.
Look, we'll see.
I
hope so.
Piece of sorts. Yeah. So.
So I wrote on biosynthetic leather, which is a really exciting kind of push in fabric technology. Basically, like leather at the moment, we don't really think about it. Well, I didn't think about it till recently, till I started looking into it. But it's actually pretty, has some severe environmental concerns. It produces quite a bit of CO2. most of the tanning processes uses chromium, which can end up like polluting waterways, and there's quite a bit of like damage to the workers themselves, depending on where the hides are being tanned. And look, there's a lot of other ethical concerns as well. Like you don't want to be like wearing cow and like wearing
exactly.
hides, and that's becoming sort of a new trend as we sort of, I guess, get more advanced as a society. We're trying to move away from animal products. And so some pretty intelligent biotech researchers and companies
The
have
boffins at HQ.
yeah, whatever that boffins means.
Nerds.
Yeah.
Scientists.
They've come up with some pretty interesting solutions to get leather that isn't, well, that's ethical and that isn't a harm to anybody and anything, I guess. Mainly some of like the most exciting ones that have come out, mushroom-based leather, really cool. So mushrooms, when they grow, they have what's called like a mycelial network, which is basically like the way you can. It's a lot more complex than this, but it's like the roots of a tree, pretty much.
That's how they get their nutrients.
Yeah, exactly. And they create hyphae, which are these sort of like almost fingers of fungus that sort of bury into the ground or into the substrate, which is sort of like their growth media, and it just sort of propagates out. And so what they've done is there's a couple companies doing it. I'm not too sure exactly which ones. I think Mycoworks.
Mycoworks.
Yeah,
Mycoworks.
that comes to mind. They've created this sort of process where you grow a certain type of fungus in these sheets, and so what happens is the hyphae will propagate across in this sheet, and
Like a singular layer of
exactly. But what ends up happening is the network kind of becomes this three-dimensional structure, which they can then sort of process downstream and make this product that's very similar to leather. What they like, the premise of it is that some of the structural proteins in the hyphae are very similar to collagen and other sort of structural qualities that leather has. And so you basically have the exact same product from something that grows really quickly. It grows everywhere. There's thousands and thousands of species of fungus that we don't even know about, or that we haven't even classified yet, that could potentially be made into this fabric. That's probably one of the coolest ones for me.
Nice. Yeah, fair enough. How would you scale that up into something that's commercially viable? Like, how much space would you need?
Well, like, really growing mushrooms is like, I'm gonna anger some people saying this. It's really easy compared to some other
Who
things.
are you angering?
I don't know. Some of the mushroom fans out
This is
there.
an explosive area of research.
Yeah, don't come for me, please. It's easier compared to a lot of different plants and sort of other species of things. You can really scale it up quite easily.
I guess you could vertically scale it as well.
Yeah.
And you can't stack cows.
God no. You
God,
can try.
I mean, yeah,
They'd be
we've
pretty
all
unhappy.
tried.
Well, I have.
I'm about to do it. I've got cow stacking after this.
My storage cage. You should see it.
It's cow
cow
length, but it's
central.
3 cow height.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That is how I measure spaces generally. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm 1 cow tall. How tall is a cow?
That's really
Sam,
short.
can you look up how tall a cow is?
Sam, get us how tall a cow is. We'll come back to that. So scaling it up, it can offer a pretty cheap and low kind of maintenance style of making it. Leather. It's like, really, when you think about it, when you're growing mushrooms of any sort, you're really just moistening it and putting it in a substrate of some sort. And it just grows. Like, I don't know if anyone's had a mold problem before. I do in my brain, but
anyone who rents in Melbourne has just perked their ears up.
Yeah. Anyone in a share house or in a rental will know.
If
Mold
you haven't
goes
gotten
everywhere.
chronically ill from black mold in Melbourne, you have not lived.
But yeah, fungus, that shit, it goes everywhere. It goes everywhere. It grows. Sometimes you can't even stop it. Really the biggest concerns in scaling it up and growing it is making sure everything's sanitized, everything's like fed with a substrate, and that's that. You can grow it up as much as you have space, really.
Love it.
And
Awesome.
The best part of the flexibility is you can pick whatever substrate you want. you can pick whatever species you want. So there might be a fungal species out there that's way more durable than leather, like from a cow, like skin. There might be a fungal species that grows like super quick and doesn't need many nutrients. It's all really like up to sort of research at this point.
Yeah,
Like, super
excellent.
exciting stuff in that regard.
I guess something that you were just talking about, different strains having different sort of strengths. One thing that's coming into fruition in a big way is precision gene editing technology in the form of CRISPR.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future you could have CRISPR editing the DNA of these the mushroom DNA
No,
to
100%.
have these properties that people are looking for.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if that's like color as well, like
could be, yeah, exactly. It could be color, it could be texture, it could be a whole number of
Durability.
things. Even in the process, it could be it doesn't need as much water. It grows. You could switch off a gene that stops it from growing as quickly. Maybe you stop it from creating fruiting bodies, and it just creates the hyphae. Like,
Yeah.
there's plenty of options for
Excellent.
research in that space to try and
for
make
sure.
it as efficient as possible.
I think one question I have is how come it doesn't degrade?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm very glad you brought
Look
that
at
up.
us.
If you don't treat it with sort of like I can't really remember what it is, but there's certain treatments that you can do to the surface of it that stop it from degrading. If you don't do that, it can be degraded really quickly. The processing really it's very basic. You're not really tanning it. You are, but it's not the same as chromium-based tanning or vegetable-based tanning. As a result, it can be degraded biologically. It can be degraded by water. It can be degraded by... They're not as durable as normal leather. It's still an alternative, but it's not as close. It's very similar sort of tensile strengths and other things like that. But yeah, it isn't the best in terms of durability. I wouldn't be taking it to a water show.
Yeah, as
An aquarium.
you often go to these water shows
All the time with my mushroom-based leather.
Absolutely, I think. Yeah, that's probably for me the biggest thing because people wear leather because it's waterproof and
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
able to. Not only because it's warm, I'm sure like you get fine insulation from this, but I think until that shows that it can be waterproof for God knows how long. Like leather lasts decades, centuries.
Oh, yeah.
So you want that from this.
It does need a bit of upkeep, but you can have a leather bag or a leather jacket.
I'm
for
wearing a
years.
leather belt right now.
Same.
All right, sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Excellent.
Well, just going off of that, there is another type of biosynthetic leather that's coming out that's made from plant cellulose. So they basically use the byproducts, like agricultural byproducts, things like pineapple leaves.
Did someone say pink pineapple?
Say what? That's a reference to a
That's
GMO bite segment
foreshadowing.
that we have.
Yes.
You should go check that out. It's an article of ours. Ryan wrote it. but-
Ryan, that's Ryan's. I think we'll talk a little bit about that in the podcast.
Oh, interesting.
Like
All right,
a bit later.
We'll get to that.
We have no notes on that, but we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. Yeah, so you can make similar to how the glucans and chitin in hyphae can mimic collagen and the other proteins in leather. Plant cellulose is actually really good when you get it to cross-link to mimic leather. And so there's a company, I believe it's Modern Meadow. Could be wrong.
Whilst you're looking that up, I wanna just clarify what is cellulose.
Oh, cellulose is like a structural polymer, a structural protein. I believe that's correct to say polymer.
It's a sugar.
It's a
polymer,
sugar.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
sorry. Yeah. A polysaccharide.
Yeah.
Basically, every single plant that you see the reason that it's rigid, the reason that it doesn't just sort of break and dissolve is because of cellulose. It's in the plant cell wall. It's in the stalk. It's just
Everywhere.
It's literally everywhere.
You see a plant, you're looking at some cellulose.
You're looking at so much cellulose.
So much. You
So
think
much of it.
celery is what I think of. I think of
Yeah,
cellulose.
same.
A very
actually.
fibrous.
Yeah.
Very fibrous vegetable.
Well, yeah. Well, it's fiber. When
Yeah.
you think about fiber, that generally is cellulose. And so, if we can take that and modify it downstream, it can turn into something that can be used as leather. And what this one company, Modern Meadow, it is Modern Meadow, what they're doing with some of their products is that they're taking this plant cellulose sort of processed material and mixing it with a biopolymer. I believe that's a trade secret. I'm not quite sure what that is.
Okay,
But,
I see.
look, that could be my rudimentary research there. But they're making a product that they claim is actually more durable, has better tactile qualities than normal leather, which is really, really cool. That's the one sort of drawback to it.
Yeah.
You want a product that's better. You want a product that potentially is cheaper and more accessible. That's great. That's what that's what we're looking for. That's all the drawbacks.
I feel like if it's cellulose based, then that by nature seems like it would be more waterproof because
plants are pretty waterproof.
They proof water, and I think on a molecular level, if I can delve into the science a bit on this, so sugars in a polymer.
Science.
Huh?
We love science.
Oh boy, do we! Sugars in a polymer, they are hydrophobic. Generally, right?
When they're in a polymer, when it's normal sugar, as everyone I'm sure has done this before, you put sugar in your coffee, it dissolves straight away.
Yeah.
But once it turns into one of those structural polymers, it's pretty
water
resistant.
It will repel your water, which is good. I feel like
it's great.
When you think of leather, what are the good qualities of leather?
It's durable, breathable, and it
breathable.
Yeah, I find leather breathable.
I feel like it's by nature not very breathable.
Wow, really?
You've obviously never worn my famous leather pants.
Oh, I haven't. But I'm sorry. Popovleather.com has described leather is naturally breathable.
Well, if Popov Leather says it, it must be true.
Well, I just think of leather shoes. Before we had any sort of other forms of fabric, right? We were using leather as shoes, as footwear for so long. There's a reason for that.
I guess
feet are stinky. They need to breathe.
Aren't they just?
Well, I mean, speak for yourself.
I can smell Sam's feet from here.
No comment from Sam.
Sam is still Googling the height of a cow.
I forgot about that.
That's a callback to earlier in the podcast, everyone. That's a technique.
Throwback Wednesday. We're recording this on a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So I have their BioVera. Is the name of the Modern Meadow
as opposed
fabric.
to aloe vera.
Well, I'm sure that's a little bit less durable than leather. But
you'd hope.
It's really, really interesting and exciting.
Excellent.
We want the most durable materials, the most
durable for clothes is good. I feel like with these bio products, it's not like plastics that are going to go and then pollute the environment.
No.
They're going to, these are things that are being repurposed from the environment into things that we can wear, which I feel like should be where we're going with all this stuff. Like,
100%.
I don't think anyone out there thinks plastics are good, as a long-term solution anymore.
Oh, you sure about that?
Yeah, look, I'm wearing my plastic shirt, so... I mean, polyesters, they're
everywhere.
Fabrics. My God.
Yeah. They were good. They were fit for purpose.
Yeah.
They did the job. I think now we should move towards a better future. And biotech and biotech solutions are the future. In my opinion, I think it's a no-brainer, really.
I think it's interesting how we view biotech versus how someone outside of the industry or outside of from a commercial view would look at it. So I think for us, biotech is where things will go.
Yeah.
In terms of providing a better future for and providing therapeutic concepts and
benefit.
Yeah,
100%.
In terms of food, everything. Whereas some people view biotech as this greedy, money-hungry thing.
Oh yeah, all the sort of anger around big pharma and all this sort of stuff, which I guess some of it's warranted. I agree, but
big pharma, big crops. I love
I
that
hate this
joke.
guy.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
we get a lot of I don't know if you've gotten it, but I've gotten it a lot where it's like, oh, so you're gonna go into like one of those
Sell
big
your
pharma
soul.
companies. Yeah, exactly. You're
Yeah.
gonna sell your soul. You're gonna, but there's so many different fields and
Oh, yeah.
avenues. Like,
Yeah,
I
big
mean,
time.
I'd love to sell my soul depending on the price.
Yeah,
but
come on.
if
I
have
think
to-
selling your soul is very much a way you can look at it,
Yeah,
but you know, we live in a capitalist
it's, a,
society.
it's an option. You know.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
The demon came
This
down
is
from
actually
below.
an ad for any companies
Any
that
demons
might,
out there who would like my soul.
yeah, one at the door. He's got skulls and a yeah. Oh,
Skulls.
Skulls. I
I'd
mean
hope so.
horns,
Yeah,
but yeah, you know what I mean.
I'd hope he had. Yeah, well,
Anyway,
moving on.
moving swiftly along. But yeah, the other side. So like, there's the way we see it, there's the way, like, you know, companies like Big Pharma, and then there's Greenpeace who have.
yeah,
I read an article yesterday. They are really like one of the big voices behind preventing golden rice and
oh yeah,
genetically modified eggplants in developing countries, not companies. Just because they're like, oh, it will have an impact on the environment, which, you know, like I feel like no matter how much effort you put into showing these organizations like Greenpeace that's not the case. They're too stubborn.
they'll find a way.
They'll find a way to
really like it's
fuck with us, yeah.
something that's become really clear to me as sort of we go through. I don't know if this is the case with you, but as we go through our degree, there is so many stages and levels and layers of regulation that goes behind getting any sort of genetically modified thing to market. They aren't there for just no purpose. They're there to protect the environment. That it's there to protect the people. It's there to protect people. Like it's that you have to go through these measures to get something done. So all this fear surrounding it is insane. Like, you have less regulation in the car that you're driving than a biotech invention or a crop that you're going to eat that might have a genetic modification. Like, it's silly to me to think about it. The plane that you take, everything has less.
Shout out Boeing.
Yeah, sponsor us.
Please don't. I think it speaks volumes that the United States, Australia, the UK, the EU, they've all given approval for. How's the recording going, Ryan? Good. They've all given their approval for golden rice as a concept, but it's in these Southeast Asia countries. Like, is the Philippines was the one in this article that I read. That's where the IRRI is, which is some rice research institute.
Yeah.
It might be the International Rice Research Institute. But they're the main voice behind this, and they're based in the Philippines. And, you know, maybe that speaks to their lobbying being shit.
I mean, look, there'd be a lot of layers to that.
Oh,
I don't think it's as simple as we're trying to protect the people because the people are protected, and if anything, they're going to be benefited by golden rice.
Oh, well, I mean, Greenpeace have shown time and time again that they don't care about. They care about the environment. Some of the stuff they do with whaling, like whaling sucks.
Agreed.
We all agree on that, except for maybe Sam. He's a Anyway,
prolific
we
whaler.
won't get into his whole whaling.
No, that's
thing.
maybe for another episode.
Yeah, that's a Sam whaling podcast. He's got Whalecast coming up after this.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Stay tuned for the Whalecast. You're gonna need a big rod if you're casting whales. God, that was
a
up
good
there.
one.
But yeah, and there's also the view of, you know, investment. Like these investment, like they see biotech as, you know, a resource to, you know, invest money in and then return a profit. It's like,
They don't see the benefit behind
there's
it.
Bitcoin, and I think if you go back like 7 years, biotech was that. It was seen as this new thing, like, holy moly, look at this company that just went up 150%.
Yeah.
So biotech as a market, as a financial market, very volatile.
Oh my god, so volatile.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, you're better off gambling.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't. We're not endorsing gambling
We're
at all
not-
on this
no.
podcast. Let's get that very clear.
Neither of them are good options.
No, God no.
God damn it.
Except unless you're investing in Biostache, in which case you should go to www.biostache.com/get involved to invest in us. But yeah,
I'll link my my Beamis. But yeah, no, it's an interesting fact of life how so many different people perceive biotech in so many different ways.
oh yeah. Just to sum up the fabric, the leather,
Yes.
the leather thing we were just talking about. Would you wear something? Would you wear something that's
would wear
made
something.
by it? Oh, thank God. Would you wear one of these fabrics if they were made into a coat or
Depends how expensive it is.
interesting. Yeah.
I'm a frugal man these days. I
Okay.
say as I spent like $200 on a jacket yesterday. That's out of the ordinary for me though. I would say, and the thing I'm going to say this about cultivated meat in a second. It's only viable if it is cost effective for the consumer.
Yes, and that means it can get into the hands of as many people as possible
Yeah,
to get exposure. Yeah.
yeah,
100%.
but you know, like if it's there, then and it's something that looks
Yeah.
cool, like it has to be something that I want to wear. I will say this: I don't wear a lot of leather.
Good man.
Yeah, well, it's just when am I gonna? I don't think a leather jacket is really my style.
Well, maybe a mushroom leather jacket or a.
Yeah, like look, give me a mushroom leather jacket. I'll try it out.
I think you're right. I would say the same. The price probably that's the problem.
The price,
The
yeah.
price, yeah.
If the price is right, then the shirt is nice. A leather shirt would be interesting.
It would be. Yeah. I'm glad your brain went there.
Yeah.
Can somebody out there make a leather shirt?
I'm sure.
Ooh.
I out of curiosity, well, we can look that up afterwards. But I don't think it'll look good.
We'll see.
Anyway, I don't think that's our area.
Well,
of fashion.
actually, if you don't mind, I think we should go into, as we were just talking about it, the Valley of Death as well.
Oh,
'Cause we're,
okay.
like,
I'll
getting
give
into
it.
that about the volatility of the biotech
Yes,
field
okay.
and-
We'll quickly go into that a bit. Well, I don't think that really speaks to volatility. I think that speaks more to the maybe volatility on the company's end on, you know, they're taking this chance and then, you know, you have to walk this metaphorical tightrope just to get funding.
So give us an overview. Well, what is the Valley of Death?
The Valley of Death, it describes the sort of the gap between where a discovery is publicly funded and privately funded. So there's this area where a company is at risk of getting no funding, and if you get no funding, then you're pretty much
You die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rest in peace. So that is where a lot of these companies fail. It's so much so that it has a fun name, Valley
The
of
Valley
Death.
of Death.
It's not just a Coolio song, rest in peace, legend.
We don't know what that man's done.
He made Gangster's Paradise.
I mean, yeah, he did walk through the Valley of the Shadow of Death.
He took a look at his life and realized there's nothing left. Anyway, that's beside the point. So early on, companies receive public funding, grants, and whatnot to pursue scientific research and discover something. And then after the discovery phases, you go into the clinical phases, preclinical and clinical phases. And it's at that early preclinical trial, phase 1 trial area that you get this sort of question marks over where the
Yeah.
funding is coming from. And because public funding kind of stops there.
It's also the point at which you get, as an investor, you get trapped because you go and look at this company and they're, you know, all of their claims are like, this is going to be the next big thing. We're going to blow up. This is we're going to be the next CSL or Vertex or one of those places.
Next CSL is very brave.
Yeah, I mean,
That would raise big questions if you want to be the next CSL.
but really, they're very likely to die. They're very likely not to get funding.
You look
from
at
then on.
you look at the numbers, how many drug discoveries make it from phase 1 to post clinical. It's a fraction of a percent.
Oh yeah,
and it costs so much money, and it's a very risky investment. So that's why it's so tough at that stage. But if you are able to post good phase 1 trial results, then you're more likely to get funding. If you have good structure in your company, investors want to see something that looks appealing to invest in.
Yeah.
So because as much as you run the numbers, there's a massive people aspect to investment as well.
100%. Yeah. Lots of something that we've been drilled in our course and our teachings and stuff. They're investing in people. VCs are looking for a team. They're looking for somebody who, even if the product isn't good, is going to give them some sort of return. There's a massive people aspect.
You better hope that the product is dope.
Oh yeah, well,
in the
maybe
words
not
of
dope exactly.
medicinal marijuana.
Tune into our next podcast
where we discuss that. I don't know.
Maybe we should.
Maybe I mean it's probably something that people are more interested about than most other things.
Well,
in biotech.
Biostache will hopefully change that.
Yeah. Yeah. Get everything. I want to quickly talk about the article that I wrote. I think it was last week. The cultivated meat article. Just I'll quickly go into that because we're doing well for time.
I haven't been looking.
36 minutes in. So yeah, maybe just cut out that part.
Yeah. It's got a good amount of laps there. Yeah. All right.
Excellent. So cultivated meat as an industry, it's sort of becoming big. It's early. It's still in infancy. There's not a lot on the market.
Okay.
There's all these companies are still developing ways to not even mass produce it. We're not even up to there. We're trying to get the funding for it. But there is a lot of media attention around it. And not a lot of there is this existence of negative media in terms of people being very hesitant towards cultivated meat as a concept. Oh, it's unnatural. Oh, it's icky. It's yucky. All of that. So to succeed. This is my opinion. They need all of this positive media from news, all this news coverage, which is where they're sinking their marketing money into. I'm thinking, I see a lot of Magic Valley, a lot of Vow, 9 News, 7 News, 10 News.
Well, I was about to say, who are the big players in this space at the moment?
So there's a lot in Singapore, but and the US. But if we're looking domestic. Vow in Sydney, Magic Valley in Melbourne are the two that spring to mind.
Okay.
And that's sort of like red meat. Those two, they do red meat. Vow was in the news. I think it was last year or the year before they made the mammoth meatball.
I think everyone's that was a big internet sensation for a while.
I think a lot of people were like, God was not in the room with this, which is that's where that's the unnatural.
That's that's the icky part of it.
Yeah, people turn their nose up to that, but it's not like mammoths are being hurt. The thing is with cultivated meat, so you might know it as lab grown meat. Which they hate. They hate the whole lab grown meat thing. It makes it sound way too unnatural in their view, which is fair enough. It doesn't make it sound natural.
I mean, I'd eat lab-grown meat, but I can understand how the people would.
Yeah. So they prefer cultivated meat. So it's basically you take some cells from a living animal, you can reprogram these cells into sort of an earlier stage in their. If you look at cells as like a flow chart, you're going backwards. You can feed them these proteins and they go backwards.
This would be into stem cells?
Yes. So into a more potent cell state.
Yes. And
then you can reprogram these cells. Basically, you take some cells from an animal, and this animal can be kept alive. This animal goes and lives a full happy life.
From my understanding, it's just like a scraping or
It's not a big amount.
It's very non-invasive.
It's relatively non-invasive. I mean, you're taking some cells from an animal, but it is what it is. It's that or the animal dies. So you take these cells, and through the magic of stem cells, you're reverting these adult cells into a previous state, so turning them into a stem cell through the magic of proteins. So you feed these proteins, these are, they're well-known proteins that turn cells back from an adult state into a more potent state. I'm not going to list them off because there's no point. I know them, all right? God damn it.
You can look up the protocols if you're really interested in it.
And then from there, you feed them different proteins that will program the cell, interact with the cell's DNA to program them into growing muscle, which is meat. And therefore, you have cultivated meat. Meat that is not from an adult animal in the sense that you had to kill the animal to get those cells.
Yeah.
But they are still that animal's cells.
It mimics the process that the cells would undergo anyway.
Absolutely.
In the animal itself.
Yeah.
So really, you're not adding anything to it, and you're not taking anything away, really.
No.
Which is the beauty of it.
Absolutely.
It's like growing a plant or growing you're cultivating.
That's
why it's there. It's a cultivation.
Absolutely, it is. And for me, my favorite benefit from this whole thing, look, yeah, it's cruelty free, right?
Yeah.
Or low cruelty. It just seems like if you can scale this up onto a big level, then there is a massive environmental impact that you can have in terms of, think of the amount of space that cows take up that you can replant with trees. Think about the amount of methane that cows produce.
Greenhouse gases.
Gases, which, famously...
We don't like them.
Not great.
As a species, they're horrible.
Awful.
I love my ozone layer.
Yeah, give me that. Actually, the ozone layer's doing pretty well
it's
now.
It's back, isn't it? Yeah.
Back better than ever.
Did we ever figure out how tall a cow was?
Yeah, I feel like I've been itching
on that topic,
to know. Yeah.
158 to 171 centimeters.
Oh, so you're like half a cow.
Basically, on a good day.
I'm 185, so I'm a cow and maybe 10%.
See how proud he was to say that?
By the way.
Okay, interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so, greenhouse gases, space that you can replant trees. And, you can have these cultivated meat facilities in urban areas.
Yeah.
But that's all dependent on whether it is commercially viable. And, it looks like from the outside, yeah, maybe it is. Like, maybe it is commercially viable. But at the same time, how are you going to get it to be cost effective for the consumer?
Yeah, well, that's the biggest, as we sort of had spoken about with the leather as well, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I am all for meat and food alternatives.
Yum.
However they get to my door.
Get in there.
But if they're expensive, I don't know how viable they can be in the long term. I'd rather eat something from a cow if it's going to be half the price or cheaper. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I hate to say it, but we're in a cost of living crisis.
We are. That word gets thrown around a lot. But
yes.
Oh boy,
is
it true?
Yeah. I mean, have you seen petrol prices recently? Just disgraced.
You just aged about 40 years in front of me.
I often do. I'm like reverse Benjamin Button in that I age. What was I going to say? Yeah, and also, us Australians, we love our farmers.
We love them.
We love them. My uncle's a farmer.
Oh, is he a big farmer?
He has big crops. No. He's a beef farmer. So.
Oh wow, yeah. So he'd probably have some pretty strong opinions on.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, you have to contest with this massive part of Australia, not only our economy but our culture in farming, and I think this is something that I've thought of, a way to sort of get revenue for these farmers is maybe you license their particular meat. So say you have Wagyu cultivated meat from this these cows that someone owns. That's their IP, I guess. That's their IP quite often, multiple times a day. And that's a joke. But it's also true.
Be.
I'm pissing my pants right now. Regardless, that's a way I feel like you can sort of meet in the middle.
For
Meet
sure. It
in the
gives
middle.
Yeah, that.
Ha ha ha
okay,
ha.
yeah.
But I will say this: if Australia doesn't accept this as something that they want, then it's doomed from the start. So therefore, we need to think about the over-reliance on positive media for these cultivated meat companies. Because my God,
That sounds like a familiar title.
wow, I wonder if there is an article on biostache.com called that. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
that.
for
To
sure.
summarize, I feel like there is this over-reliance.
Definitely.
I think that as a concept, it's cool. And, we have real companies with real people working on this in real time right now.
Well,
so
how far away are we from going into Coles in our cost of living crisis, going to the meat aisle, and there's a modern meadow or there's a random company's
Magic
cultivated
Valley.
meat there?
You know what? I asked one of the guys at Magic Valley this
Yeah.
exact question, and he didn't really give me a straight answer.
Oh.
He didn't know either. Like it depends on so many factors, and it depends on the investment that they get, and it depends on like how much funding I guess
I
is
see.
like end of the day. Like you
And public perception to some
Yeah,
point as well.
oh,
It
yeah,
all
for
ties
sure.
into it.
Yeah, but like they have people trying it. They have all these. One of their marketing methods is getting politicians and like famous people to try it.
Yeah.
And give their opinion, and then they they get recognition from that. That's sort of in terms of like non-traditional media. That's where they would get their.
see.
That's how they get exposure.
Would you try it?
Absolutely, I would try it.
Have you tried it?
I have not tried it.
Oh.
I don't know if I would be given the the opportunity to. I would
Well,
love
if
to.
anyone's listening from Magic Valley, is it?
Magic
Magic
Valley.
Valley, get us some.
Andrew, I have your email. God damn it. Ella, I know you from uni. She's their marketing person.
Oh, I see.
Um,
I would have loved to try the woolly meatball. Is that what they're
woolly
calling it?
mammoth.
The woolly. I like the woolly meatball. That
That sounds
that rings well.
very, very on the tongue. Which is not a lot of ideal foodstuffs are furry on the tongue.
You'd be surprised.
Anyway, so I think let's move on to a little bit on Sam and Ryan, their articles. Now, we're talking about Sam's article in terms of contraceptives and male contraceptives. There is sort of this lack, this dearth? Is it dearth
Dirge?
of male contraceptives? There's only the condom, really.
And the vasectomy and
Oh yeah, but
like yeah.
there's a bit of finality.
There's
to that
no
one.
there's no sort of pill that you can take every day.
No, absolutely not.
That's out there right now. There probably is. That's my ignorance showing through, but nothing that's as widely accepted or it has as much media coverage as the pill for females. But
I have some questions that.
Lovely.
I have a question that Sam has prepared for me to quiz you on.
Okay.
When was the first female contraceptive pill released on the market?
It went to clinical trial, I believe, in 1958 or 59, and it came through for the market in 1960.
That is spot on.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is.
Yeah.
You're putting me to shame here.
And it was
but
extremely effective, and still is to
it's
this day.
super effective.
Except for the somewhat crippling side effects for some people,
Oh,
which
absolutely.
is horrendous.
Yeah, it's. It became a thing because it had to be, and
Exactly,
you
yeah.
accepted the side effects at the time. But
No, it sucks.
it's one of the reasons why a male contraceptive pill is important, because not everyone will be able to take these female contraceptive pills. And IUDs, the rod,
Which
all that kind of
sucks.
stuff. Oh,
By the way,
yeah.
I've heard. I don't have one, but like the procedure for it.
Oh, all these things are so people jumping through these terrible hoops just because Big Pharma is a boys' club and doesn't want to offer
Yeah.
offer
feels
a male
barbaric.
contraceptive. Oh, it's
Come on.
just ridiculous. But here's another question. When was the first rubber condom produced?
Rubber?
Rubber. Or like the first condom. Well, I mean, this one says first rubber condom.
I'm going to say this. I actually don't know, but this is going to be bad. I'm going to say probably pre-war, like 1930.
Earlier.
Really? 1921.
Earlier. And your final guess?
1900.
1885.
Wow, they
Yeah.
had rubber back then. So, I knew they had tires and stuff, but yeah.
I mean,
Wow, that would have been horrific.
yeah. Well, is what it is. I mean, God, you'd need
Yeah,
that would
I didn't even want to
cause
think
some
about that. That's for the
burning.
this is the Biostache
Ouchie,
pod.
yeah. Where we
NSFW
discuss the
segment.
logistics of rubber condoms.
That is horrific. But look,
Mm,
any progress in that area is good progress.
yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of ratios you can look at in terms of risk to reward for the pharma,
Yeah.
for big pharma industries. Big pharma, the industry.
I see. Yeah.
And why they don't believe it's of benefit to develop one. But I think the whole thing is, and hate to press this point in, is that funding
Again,
is just funding. Like if it's funded, it'll happen.
It all comes back to money when it comes to any sort of drug development.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's the Adam study at Epworth that Sam mentions in his article. So
Which is a very, very
Go to that
interesting
one.
option.
yeah,
Would you take a male contraceptive pill?
yeah, absolutely, 100% I would.
Yes.
I mean, it's silly not to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Same. I think it's a good. I think a lot of people don't want to admit it for some reason. Amongst
I think the hesitancy is in the side effects, which is hypocritical because
yeah,
As
it
we've
already
discussed.
exists and is horrific. Yeah.
yeah, so it just I mean, I wouldn't want to experience the side effects, but I would try it,
Mm,
and if it works, it works.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's the ball jacuzzi thing that was I don't know where's
Where's that
we're at.
gone?
Yeah.
How are they doing?
I remember seeing that on.
Sam,
probably-
can you look up the ball jacuzzi for us?
Yeah,
please?
look at the ball jacuzzi, Sam. Maybe do
'Cause
that on
that,
incognito
see,
mode.
that seemed insane.
Yeah,
And that was like, honestly, I would take the side effects of a pill to not put my balls in a jacuzzi.
oh, I would take the ball jacuzzi.
That's like, wow.
What do you mean?
Why would are you serious?
What do you mean? What's wrong with the ball jacuzzi?
What if it hurts? That's your balls as well.
Eh,
That's nah.
what do you mean? It's a
weird.
water.
But you're baking your balls.
Oh, it's not boiling water.
May as well be.
This man is afraid of some. Anyway, I
So,
think that's that.
The Adam
Yeah.
test, which I believe I could be wrong here. This could be
Mhm.
absolutely bullshit, but that's where they inject the is it a polymer or some sort of aerogel?
It's a hydrogel.
A hydrogel, yeah, a hydrogel
into the
your-
vas deferens.
Yeah, which is a really sort
the
of
tubes that carry
elegant-
sperm.
Yeah, they do. Sometimes in most people, they that is a very elegant solution, I believe.
Yeah, nice. No, I was just looking at Ryan because he coughed. He's
Shameful.
just showed me the rude finger.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna talk about that later. That's gonna be discussed. Anyway,
Pay's getting docked.
his shares are getting diluted.
I think that's a very good step in the right direction.
yeah.
I
I mean,
think the hesitancy to get a vasectomy is the fact that it's like a sort of there's this perception that it's not reversible, which I believe it is, but
I've never
having
had one.
something that sort of dissolves after 3 to 4 years and you can just kind of do it and forget and
Yeah.
everything's fine and you don't get any side
Set and
effects. You don't
forget
get anything. Yeah,
is up there with the things of all time.
it is.
Anyway, so what have we got coming up?
In terms of, well, we've got the podcast coming out.
Podcast coming out. We have no
Very
idea
exciting.
when this will come out.
Hopefully soon.
This is on a Wednesday, so if it's before the second Wednesday of May, then we've done very well.
Let's hope. That's a wishful thinking.
Fingers
but yeah,
crossed.
we're going to be on TikTok soon.
Yep.
We're posting regularly on Instagram and LinkedIn, and obviously our articles are coming
Oh,
out,
yeah.
and we'll be continuing to come out pretty regularly over the next couple of weeks.
We're streamlining.
Couple
I've got one
months.
coming out today
Wow. exciting.
on Juma Bioincubator, which is we'll
Very cool.
discuss that on the next podcast, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, but that's all very exciting at the CSL headquarters where we
The
pray.
big overlords.
The
Over at
overlords.
CSL.
So that's what's happening for me. I've got a bunch of assignments as well coming. I've got to do an 8-minute talk in one take, video recording.
Versus a 60-minute podcast.
I mean, at least I have you here. You know? You're what's
And the
turning-
team.
Oh yeah, these two. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah,
Um,
thank you everyone for
Thank you.
for tuning in.
Yeah, this has been a real. We've been learning on the job. I'm not sure you can tell, but
we're
we've
gonna
really.
keep learning as well.
Oh
So
boy, every day we learn some more.
we do.
But yeah, shout out to everyone who made it this far. We really appreciate you.
Yeah,
You can find us Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, our website.
TikTok.
Our
soon.
newsletter just came out.
Yes,
And
we should plug
we've been
that.
getting a lot of positive feedback on that.
we have.
So make sure you head to biostache.com/newsletter to sign up there. And Sam is doing magical work with that.
Wonderful things. on the
Wonderful
newsletter.
things.
You do not want to miss it. Let me tell you.
I certainly
I haven't
don't.
missed it, so I don't think
I was
anyone
there.
should.
But yeah, that's it pretty
That's it.
much. Thank you very
Podcast
much
done.
for
Thanks
listening.
everyone.
Adios, muchachos, and
We'll see you in the next one.
we'll see you in the
hopefully.
next one. Bye bye.